How do we get high score in the reading task of IELTS within a short duration? This video is on that. And I am Muhammad Abdullah, an IELTS faculty for the last 14 years. Before we go ahead to look at the second section of the IELTS, which is what is the reading section, let me start with my first and the primary advice. Don't get tensed. I say this because quite often students find this as the toughest section of IELTS, and the fact of the matter is it is tough. Reading section of IELTS is different for the academic test as well as for the general test. The duration, however, is the same. Duration is 1 hour. You have 3 activities to be done. In the academic test, you are going to have 3 passages, the length of which may vary. And the third passage is generally the lengthiest passage. All these passages are taken either from newspapers or journals, not very technical. And even if they are technical, then they will be explained by a layman like you who is not an expert in that area, is expected to understand it and then answer that question. If you are going for the general test, then the 3 activities that are given are a little different and simpler. The first activity is more general in nature. It could be like an advertisement that appears in the newspaper. The second activity is more work related. It could be to do with something like a policy in a company. The third one is a lengthier passage. Most of the students get perturbed while they are writing this test because of the length of the passages. Please don't be. The second advice I am going to talk about is don't try to be a James Bond. There are going to be 40 questions that are given here, and in your rush to answer all those 40s, there's a very good chance you are likely to make more mistakes. Take your time, and in that process, if you miss out on few questions, it's all right. But yes, I do have an advice here too. At the end of the test, when you do have a couple of minutes left out, nothing wrong in going back to those questions you're going to miss out and make a guess. For all we know, probably you'll get it right. With this, let's try to understand the complication of what is there in the reading section. The length of the passages cumulatively probably is going to be about 2,000 to 2,500 words. The first passage is shorter, the second one is medium length, the third one is longer. Now, if it so happens that it comes in the area of your interest, you do have some background information in it. It will increase your pace at which you read and therefore you answer. Now, unlike in the listening, here you do not get an extra time to write the answer in your answer sheet. So, while you are answering it, please see to it that you are directly writing it in your answer sheet. That is also something that you need to remember. Now, knowing about a topic, for example, I'm a mechanical engineer, and it so happens, and it's a matter of luck, that the passage comes which is more related to engineering. Am I at an advantage? Answer is yes, because as I said, it increases the pace. But I'm also at a disadvantage because I have some prior information. Now, this is where the next advice comes into picture. Do not use your prior information while answering the answer. The reason is very simple. You are expected to answer as has been given in the text. The complication in reading also comes in the pattern of questions that are given. There are many question types which are tested here. It could be a filling the blanks where you're supposed to complete a sentence. It could be an open-ended question where you are expected to write a word or a phrase or a number or a symbol. It could also be match the following. It could be to match what has been given to a flow or a diagram that has been given in the question paper. It could also be one of the toughest, true or false. And why do I say it's tough? Because the options are not limited to only true or false. It's also the third option not given. Why do I say this is tough? Because quite often we tend to take the information that we already have but not provided in the passage to answer this, and therefore we go wrong. The advice I have here is get to know which questions you are strong at. The type of questions that you are strong at are the type of questions that you should first attempt. Remember, in this, all the 3 passages have been given to you at one go. You have been given 60 minutes to solve, but no one is going to tell you that, look, this is the amount of time that you need to spend for each of the passages. So quite often students go slow in the first passage, and by the time they reach the second passage, they're already running short of time. So time management becomes a very important aspect of this task. 3 passages, 60 minutes would generally roughly get translated into 20 minutes each. But that is not what I'm going to advise. Having already said that the length of the passage is more towards the end, the third one, and obviously the complexity is also more there, see to it that you are probably spending about 15 minutes for the first passage, 20 minutes for the second, and maybe the rest 25 for the third. And yes, you need to be very careful about the amount of time you're investing in each of these passages. So going back, what is the test strategy which I'm going to recommend? When you do your mocks and as you do practice, you will get to know which are the type of questions you are comfortable with. Answer them. Now you will also realize while you're writing the test that the questions come in a order, and in fact, most of the time, the same order is established in the passage too. Now, this is not true for all the questions. The beauty is as you do the mocks, you will know which question types don't fall in that. But most of the others would. So what should you do? See to it that you are reading the first question and then start reading the passage. As you read the passage a bit fast, you will get to know where the answer is going to come. There you can slow down and do a little more active reading. And once you zero down on the answer, immediately write that in the answer sheet and then read the next question and go forward. For questions where you need to know the whole passage, these questions could probably be done towards the end. And in case you are running short of time, avoided altogether. These tricks, these strategies can help you maximize. Remember, in your quest to get 9 out of 9, you probably would fail to get even 6. So sometimes you have to learn to let go. Sometimes when you notice the fact that you're spending more time than essential in a given question, let it go. This is my final advice. But having said all these, I am also going to reiterate what I've always said. Short duration of 2 weeks is more than sufficient to crack the reading section or the reading task of IELTS. You need to practice more. A person with a wider reading habit and a diverse reading habit, an eclectic reading habit is always going to have an advantage. But the level of passages that are given in IELTS are long, but they're not very complex. They don't really use high-level English, but they still need practice. So, practice.